if that does anything here for us.
The circle right here, it's fun.
I would say welcome back to the pack, guys, but I don't see anything live. Nothing's
Just
coming
up
up.
for me.
Maybe, huh? It's up for you.
Yeah, it's up.
Okay, welcome back to the pack, guys, and welcome to another week of Arena Watch podcast with Pack and Celery here. I know our cameras are frozen. I'll hover over it just now. There we go. That should fix it. Every time I hover over, it does that weird thing. Let me hit scene 2 really quick, or scene 3 or something. Fixes it. There we go. My mouse is now visible. I hate it when it does that. All right, so everything's live. I think the chat is also live, so we got the right chat going and everything. Maps up. Okay, guys. How do we do? How do we do this week?
I did like almost identical to last week. I went through like 5 days perfect, and then the 6th day, first match, I lost a unit.
Was there any
I
reason for that? Did that need to
I
happen?
no, I don't think it needed to happen. I well, I'll say it didn't need to happen the way that it happened. I might have been able to have Yangus tank a Searing Press and a Jessica Fireball, and if he survived that, I could have won without losing any points.
Gotcha.
But the way that I lined up, there was no way I was getting through. Basically once I hit start, I was going to lose points at least. And this has been a pretty reoccurring theme without trying and thinking through of a slower strategy. I'm not good at waiting turns, especially on weeks without bonus HP. I just want to kill everything.
Yeah.
So
I felt it. I don't know what it was too. Like for me, I could have totally, I guess, moved around my units, and maybe Elena would have moved to the correct spot, because I always thought, they prioritize down movement over the left and right. So I thought she'd just
we
move
did get an answer.
three. I thought she would move 3 down, but she moved 2 down and 1 to the left. So
Yep. And we did get an explanation from that from Nocturne.
yeah.
So it turns out at some point recently there was an AI change that wasn't advertised in game. And this is not just for arena, it's not just for enemies, it's for allied units too if you're on auto. Units now prioritize moving around allied units, vice moving straight through them.
Mm-hmm.
And that is great that he figured that out, because when you posted that video, it was like, oh, maybe because you had your duel off to the side, the Alina wanted to get directly in line with duel, even though it wasn't any closer to duel by moving to the side than it was moving straight down.
Mm-hmm.
It was in line, but that turns out that was not related whatsoever, because someone on Kage's Discord, I think it might have been Duke. Duke posted his where there were no units off to the side, and Alina did the same thing. And then Nocturne posted a video using his own units on a PvE stage, showing the same movement while on auto. So that is, it's annoying, but I think only in the sense of we're going to have to remember that moving forward. I don't think that will be a huge issue compared to moving straight down. Moving straight down was always nice because it meant things tended to end up bunched together more, which is more convenient for a lot of arena comps where if they move all to the side, they don't want to run through each other, then it's a little bit more difficult to get things bunched up, especially not this week, but like last week where there's pillars in the middle and stuff. Moving over, two away from the pillar means that they're not lined up with anything on the other side of that pillar. There's no, unless you're using Dark Pillar or Searing Kazuz. So, it's a little bit annoying, but mainly I think it'll just boil down to remembering that. And for a lot of matches and a lot of people, it's going to be about remembering that with Alino specifically. And I'll also say that both your match and Duke's, you were kind of, I call it trying to be a little too tricky. You were hoping to line up Alino with other units.
Yeah, I was just hoping she would just walk up in the way that I would want her to rather than have her attack Dole. So that way I could have lined up other units the way I wanted to line them up and manage them that way. Because I wanted to make sure that my Dole could move to a spot where when he yanked Yangus, because I was planning on yanking Yangus with Dole, that that Elena would be body blocking Yangus, so he wouldn't move at all. He wouldn't move up at all from the pole. Obviously, that didn't happen, but it would have been good if it had. But at that point, what I should have done is rather than trying to pull Yangus, I should have kept him there. Obviously, I should have moved to the same spot, body blocking him and whatnot, and maybe evil glinted somebody else to the right. So stood in front of Yangus, but evil glinted to the right, even though, I don't, it's weaker, sure, whatever, yada, yada. But it's what I should have done. But at the moment, I just didn't see it. You get that anger in you or that, that arrogance where you're like, how could that have happened? That shouldn't have happened. I'm right. The game's wrong. You get that moment.
Yeah. I call it panic. You have a plan, and especially for those of us, when you're setting up and you're looking at everything, you're like, okay, this, and then as soon as something doesn't go according to plan, instead of reevaluating, we try and force the match to go back into our plan that no longer is everything lined up the way we had originally planned.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely do the same thing when, a lot of times that's when you need to reevaluate, especially with 3 turn. I know, I already said, for me, it's hard for me to really break through to my own mind that I don't need to kill everything turn 1. And that's even more true when things don't go according to plan. That, if something is different from the plan, you've got that extra turn of buffer. You can reevaluate and, hang back more, or like you said, do something that doesn't feel optimal.
Yeah, tilt is the right word, Banshee, sorry. But tilt is the right word, Banshee. That's the one I was looking for.
Yep, tilt.
My mind.
So, but yeah, a lot of us, just from how people talk in Discord, a lot of us go on tilt, and so it's definitely something to keep in mind when things don't go your way, to be able to reevaluate and take that pause instead of just pushing through and losing points that aren't necessarily required.
Yeah. I mean, it was supposed to be an easy week. This week, last week, I shouldn't have. I mean, what was last week? That was the Zam week. Yeah, that one I could see myself losing points because it was a harder week, right? But this week I should not have lost any points. There was no excuse for losing any points this week. It was basically all the favorable conditions that I want, Not my guy Dolmagus is within one shot range of pretty much anybody. It's exactly what I like. So yeah, I shouldn't have lost points this week. It's kind of disappointing where you can't, you're your own worst enemy. And it's like, okay, now what do I do? It doesn't matter how favorable a week is for me. Like, if I'm my worst enemy that week, it doesn't matter how good the conditions are. Sometimes, if I have those night pack moments or those stubborn pack moments, I don't know what I would call it. But, yeah, that could cause problems for me. So, let's see if I can't turn on DQ8 music while I'm at it. But, yeah, did you thought it was probably an easier than usual week, right? You'd say?
Yeah, I think like I said, I didn't do particularly well. I lost more than just that 8 points because after it, I just went. I
was shocked because a lot of other people lost points not having the HP. I guess I managed to get 42nd place, which is pretty good. I was shocked, and there's no one in between the 40th second place and first place. There was no -4 points.
Oh, no -4. So
no,
the one
none -4. It was crazy.
4
It was crazy. No one lost -4. I guess the low HP they either got -8 or they got -12 or they got minus who knows.
So,
but yeah.
Yeah, that was. But yeah, one thing I did notice in all the matches I lost points in, and in at least 3 of the matches before I lost points, was just entirely backstack teams, using all 3 of the back row and like 1 wing.
I was surprised because some of the backstack teams weren't as bad this week. Like, even though it was backstack, like, I had ways of dealing with it. Just because, what's his face being the way he was, Dolmagus being so targetable and whatnot. I saw Trop take on some of those teams too, and do pretty well.
Yeah, well, that was the other thing. I did not use Dolmagus this week. I went with a full physical team the whole week.
So weird.
And just specifically never chose a team with evasion. I made it through 21 matches. No Elenas, no Dolmagus.
Yeah, I get arrogant. I choose Elena and Dolmagus on purpose.
Yeah,
that's what I usually do.
Normally that's what I do, but this week I was trying something different.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably the most favorable week for Dolmagus since like the Marshall week. And anything with HP down, as long as it's no stats boosted for demons, he should be fine. I mean, I'd still bring him even if it was boosted, but it would just be a damn shame. I'd probably give him agility at that point and just have him be so fast that it would throw other people off facing him on defense. That's probably the worst thing you could do with the Dolmagus is give it like HP or agility on defense for people. The damage isn't going to throw anybody off.
Yep.
I think. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what that was.
The baby has her little pig. Just honking a horn.
Yeah. Let's see. This next upcoming week, Weightless week. It's been a minute. And I was worried that they might have, because stuff was off schedule, that this one probably would get delayed too. But it turns out it didn't, so that was pretty interesting. As stuff got shuffled around and this one kind of fell back into its place. The only one we're missing is Sea and Below, which Malcolm did hear our concerns over that. I'm not sure what they're going to decide to do, but I would, again, if they did it once, they could do it again, and that's, again, if the code allows for it. Because the first time that they did 2... According to Malcolm, that they're called rounds of Arena. They did 2 rounds at the same time with the Auto Week and the Hero Week, side by side on week 24. They did both those bouts or rounds at the same time. That was just literally code that they took from the JP and translated it. Like, they didn't have to do anything. They just put it into English, put it into French, put it into Chinese, Mandarin. They didn't have to do anything. So
that was the only week. I know that was the only week for us, but that was also the only week for JP that they've ever had two at once.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. So, I don't know. Like, I'm hoping that they're able to just put the two together without there being some sort of glitch. Them trying to bring guilds early. They had some sort of game. I mean, they didn't admit to where it happened because they can't for obvious reasons. But there was some sort of game-breaking glitch when they were trying to bring us guilds early, and we didn't get them early. We got them on time. We never got them early because a piece of the code for the guild thing was on the guild thing, but a piece of it must have been in the update too that they didn't notice because you couldn't have the two without each other. We reach on time to the update, and suddenly guild works for that, and there's no glitch, and we're on time. But before, when we weren't on time, it wasn't working. So maybe bringing 2 bouts of arena when the JP never coded for it might cause issues, I'm thinking. But if it doesn't, please just run 2 bouts at the same time. And if we ever, again, a lot of times the whole reason to shift things around is because we might have been early on an event, so we needed the hero bonus out, we needed the Zam bonus out, the Marshal bonus out before this next banner drops, so that way people are motivated to buy that unit on that banner because of the bonus. So I would say if we're ever ahead, and I don't mind being ahead with an accelerated timeline, like, just run 2 bouts, 2 rounds of an arena at the same time if you can. I know it's a lot to ask, so I don't know the logistics of it, of course. But if you could, please do. We do want that back. Okay, looks like my mouse disappeared again. But now I have a way of fixing it, tricking it into working again. Alright. In the meantime, let's discuss the map. It's nothing we haven't seen before, it looks like. No?
It looks... it's the first thing, of course, that jumps out, unintended, is King She Slime can hit the sides, but not really the center. It can, hit those first 2, the green dragon and Leery Lout, but it can't get all the way up to hit that second row with the arrangement they are now. If you end up against enemy in a different arrangement, then you could use where Great Dragon and Overkilling Machine are. You could use that to jump in the middle of the enemy and hit a bunch of them if they happen to leave a spot open.
So, Starscream commented that no arenas have been delayed, and that's not true. They have shifted things around before, and we thought, oh, maybe we might not get this. At least I did, because I was posting the maps, right? So there was a time that they shifted things around, but they shifted it right back. So we weren't really ahead. This is the only time where they haven't brought an arena week back. That they pulled out of circulation or whatever. So I don't know. And he's claiming that most people probably wouldn't want the C and below, and I personally would. And I'm not sure. What would you even care for a C and below week, Celery? Just to have like one time at least for the novelty.
I always like more options. So seeing a C and below, even though, from what we saw in JP, it's very symmetrical, very
there's not a lot of variations, right?
Yeah, there's not a lot of good team comps in C and below. So I think every single one had Saber Cub. I think out of like the top 10 or something. It was either top five,
Which is
number.
fine because that's like a lot of the top teams have Dolmagus, on a normal week. But it's like, I think
But it was still like I think only maybe like 1 out of 10 had any unit that at least one of the other top 10s didn't have.
I guess
So it's very
I guess because of the foresight, a lot of people would just mirror those teams. But because of the foresight, I already know that I have a comp going that was partly, what they had in JP, but also different because of the learned abilities that I taught my units. So I was actually looking forward to it. And, these C and below units usually don't see any sort of light in a match. And if there's no sort of restriction put into place, we won't really get much use out of them. So there's really no reason to blossom some of these units. I know I wasn't blossoming the, what was it? Goodness. I wasn't blossoming Man of War before this, but now I have been. So I've invested a little bit in it. But the thing I would agree on is, let's say a lot of people won't appreciate the C and below week. Well, that's like a whole week of boring arena, right? But it's like, if you had 2 bouts running at the same time, I think a lot of people would be more okay with it because at least there's one arena mode running that week that they didn't just get bored by. I would say that the auto arena was kind of like that because it's like you're autoing anyways, which takes next to no time. So it was a lot easier to do. There wasn't a whole lot of variation. I mean, there might have been to it. So if you didn't like auto arena for whatever reason, I think a lot of people were receptive to it, but I guess some people are controlling and they don't like the way the AI moves and they weren't good at predicting it. I think that they had fun with the hero week anyway because there's at least something they could have done that week that they could have enjoyed, so it wouldn't have just been the auto week, and it just seemed like a cherry on the top rather than as the main course. So I think if the C and below week is run in conjunction with another bout, another round, I think a lot of people would be more okay with it than if it was the only thing that they had to look forward to the week. I think I'll agree because I think it's going to be very polarized, and maybe Starscream's right that more people are going to hate it than like it. Because a lot of people said that they wanted this for the longest time, but people don't know what they want. They don't know a lot of people don't think about the logistics of things before it arrives, and then when the reality hits them in the face, they're like, oh yeah, this was stupid. I don't know why I wanted this. So that could be the case for all I know. It seems, judging based on the logistics of it, maybe people won't like it as much. So having it run in conjunction with something might make people less adverse to it, I think. Plus the code's there, why not use it? I would love to have more arena medals rather than less, guys. It's always nice to have more rolls on your weapons than not. So I'd rather get the medals. Let's see, what else did they say? What if they had an only percent F only week? F only week. That would be even worse, wouldn't it? That'd be be pretty terrible.
There's only what, 6 F units?
That
7,
one they would definitely have to run in conjunction with something else going on. Otherwise, people would lose their minds. They couldn't have that be the center of the week. That wouldn't be. If it was on the side, people wouldn't care. But if it was the only thing they had the whole week, they would be pissed. They would be pissed. My God, they would be pissed. Yeah. But I'd like to see that come back. But okay, let's talk about this week. We got the map. It's split. There's plenty of spots for KSS to jump from, and if we ever had that ballooned Queen Slime, she would have had the other spot to jump from, and it would have been a perfect... The second that we have the double slime press moves, whatever, the double press team, this is going to be the perfect map. This is the perfect map for the double press team, other than just having two tiles like literally in the center blocking anyone from walking up. We haven't had that map though yet. So yeah, this is the ideal double press map, but when it comes, I'm kind of disappointed my Queen Slime is so low awakened. I know it doesn't affect her too much, but it would have been nice to see her with more awakenings.
It affects her the same as, or almost the same as King She Slime. King She Slime gets that 10% boost at Awakening 1, whereas Queen Slime doesn't, because she gets MP.
If you think about it, you know, KSS needs his first awaken. You know, there's damage, a lot of damage there to be had. But aside from that, Queen Slime, her agility comes from her base stats. You know, they're tied for agility according to something Metazoa posted, but that's, you know, post bloom and whatnot, right? So
yeah,
Queen Slime doesn't have agility. Yeah, but she doesn't have agility nodes, right? Like, you could have no awakenings on KSS. Drop the agility nodes on him, and he's pretty fast, right? And each awakening that KSS gets doesn't speed him up by that much. Now, each awakening that Queen Slime gets speeds her up by a lot. So because all the agility is from the awakenings. It's not from the bloom. She gets HP, right? No, she gets HP?
It's HP, yeah.
Yes, she gets HP, not agility, so she doesn't have that high base agility compared to K. It's weird to say that, but she doesn't have that high base agility compared to KSS, and she scales more of her agility per awakening than KSS does. It's weird to say, but that's kind of how it is. So, I don't know. Having her not awakened at all is kind of unfortunate for me. And then the first, you know, awakening is disappointing too, because it's MP regen, which is like, okay, maybe on PvE with KSS and her, they'll do a double press kind of weird team going on. But in PvP, that first awakening is less than savory. The second awakening would be nice, the third would be nice, fourth and even the fifth would be nice, but the first one is really disappointing. Like, if I had enough slime metals or fragments and I had an opportunity to awaken her to her first awakening, I wouldn't. If I happened to pull her first awakening just randomly, then I might drop one for her second, if that makes sense. Because as she stands now, it's not that important. And I feel like it would be a waste to use 100 slime fragments for someone that's on the general pool, at least now, right? That's just a thought that came across my mind. Again, it's a Weightless week, guys. It's not too complicated, other than the only difference between this Weightless week and previous Weightless weeks is that we have new units compared to previous weeks. So you could go with, you know, obviously Metazoa is going to have fun because he has high weight units that are max awakened and whatnot, a lot of them. A weird atypical strategy, you know, like if I was to make a meme of Metazoa, it would be, these are the most important stats in the game, and it's like high or most important things in the game for Arena, and it's one of the things would be high agility, another thing would be high movement, and another thing would be high range. And then Metazoa would be like, I'll just take this one, the high range, and that's it. I don't care about the other two. That's literally Metazoa. He doesn't care about the actual movement or agility. He would just, it's like, as long as, you know, they have the range, they don't need movement with the range, he's fine. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about agility. He doesn't care about those things. I mean, on his martial team, he cares about agility, but on his spell team, which is what he seems to be using a lot of these times, he doesn't care. What's up, Dranik? Is she in general pool now? Yes, she is in general pool. I think they could make it easier to swallow if they made it a 72-hour limited arena. Give everyone like 15 matches that they could do at a time over 3 days. I would make it the same number of matches, but over 3 days. So it'd still have to be 21 matches over 3 days. So it'd be 7 matches a day. That's what I would do if I was going to do it. And people would just auto at that point or something. I don't know what they would do. But nah, it's just better to fit it into 7-day format. You have 7 days for arena. Why not 7 days for that? Why stack it? Spread it out, because people could only tolerate so much of a C and below week. Apparently, they'll hate it. So I don't know. He likes Rapthorn True Form in theory. He does. He uses Rapthorn True Form. He uses Hadler. Strange units like that. Not just in theory, in practice. Yes, he does. He does enjoy those bizarre units, but you do need them at High Awakening to make a lot of use out of their 3rd and 5th Awakening passives. So his strategy is both strange but also not possible for a lot of other people. Whereas you could have a unawakened Dolmagus at S5 and he would be just as good as one that's like at S7 basically. Maybe even better in some cases.
Yeah, the advent of the Awaken 3 and 5 perks has really opened up some whale strategies.
Yeah, and the 3 and 5 for Dolmagus almost isn't anything other than like CC utility and stuff like that, so it's like it's not that important.
Yeah, it doesn't feel as...
The mechanics doesn't change. Unless if you're doing the high HP again. Like if you're doing arena defense or something. Maybe. I don't know. But other than that, I think, no. You definitely... doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think there's definitely 2 categories of the new units, where some of them are like Nocturnus, who was the first one to have Awakening 3 and 5 perks. But his Awakening 3 and 5 perks, as far as arena goes, don't do a lot.
3 might, 5 doesn't. 5 is annoying on defense. Like if he did crit, that would suck, but
3 heals for like nothing.
It heals for nothing. It's a shame his heal isn't the Dragon Lord True Form heal.
Yeah.
Then it would have been good.
Yeah, that one's a dragon scale ability like I think Dragonoid Baron. No, not Dragonoid Baron. Draenor, one of the DQ9 dragons gets dragon scale.
Mm-hmm.
And locks behind Awake 5. And that is something that absolutely changes how he's handled. Like Nocturnus at 1, 2, 3, 4 Awakening, you still don't want to let him live. He still hits hard. And he still has that chance to crit, even if it's a lower chance to crit than 5. So 5 really doesn't change how he's handled. And 3 really doesn't change how he's handled. You're not... Again, you don't want to let any Nocturnus live to hit something if it's not heavily resisted. And B, the heal doesn't do that much. It's a very small heal in the realm of things. Mm-hmm. So that compared to like Slime Tank, who was I think the next unit to come out, and Awakening 3, he gets Spell Shield. Like that's a huge change of how you can handle him.
Mm-hmm.
And same with Hadler. Awakening 3 gives him the spellcaster version of the Astark thing, where whenever he gets hit, he boosts his spell potency, and that's a pretty significant change compared to not being 3 awake. Although 5 awake is not a huge thing considering it's just a melee range counterattack. But so that's there's definitely these banner units that change significantly based on their 3 and 5s, and then there's other banner units that don't. Like a Hunkel gets 20% more chance to go immortal, which goes from 40 to 60% if you're awakening 5. And the thing is, though, in Arena, if you're facing one, like you're always going to assume he lives once, and there's a reasonable chance he lives twice, but 3 times effectively guarantees the kill. It becomes very unlikely for him to continue proccing it when you're hitting multiple times. So even going up against a 1 awakened Yunkel, you're going to bring some sort of multi-hitting ability like Nocturnus or something to try and get as close to a guarantee as you can. So 1, 3, or 5, you're still going to do the same tactic, whereas other units you do have to completely mix up, like with Slime.
What awakening is that with Hunkel?
3 and 5. 3 and 5 are both 10% extra.
No. I meant the 10% extra for the 1 HP proc of.
Yep.
So before the 3 and 5, he has it at base?
No, he has it at 1.
He has it at 1, and that's only 1 time. And then,
It's a chance. It's always a 40% chance.
So you might be able to just one-shot him the first time.
Yep. You got a 6. If you're facing a 1 awake Hunkel or Hunkel, you've got a 60% chance that he does not take an extra hit after being brought to 1 HP.
Okay, so I was confused. I always thought the first one was guaranteed and all the other ones after that had a chance.
No, that's Sorrow human form, Banesword. He always lives at 1 HP the first time, but never after that.
See, I thought he lived always after the first time, Hunkel, and that it was chance after that. So I guess it's different. That's interesting. I'm never going to face any Hunkel that has 1 or more awakens, just on principle, because I don't, I could have the worst luck and maybe it just keeps proccing until 3 turns later, 4 turns later. I'm never going to, that's just officially is a unit that I will never face, just for that reason, because I like consistency.
What's this accent? That's how they say it in Japanese. Hunkel.
Hunkeru. That's how they would say. I'm just shortening the ru because they always have a vowel following a consonant, like their words. Like for us, da di do de do. Well, that had an R in front of, different than an R, but let's say it's an R in front of all those vowel sounds. So we would have 1 letter and then 5 different vowel sounds. But for them, each one of those is just 1 letter. So they go da di do de do, ta chi tu te to, or something, right? Like they use those exact same 5 vowel sounds for all their consonants. And they're always paired together, always except for that sound. They have that one separate, but every other thing is paired with a vowel. Anyway, don't want to get into Japanese too much on Arena Watch, but that's how it is. So Hunkid. I'm just dropping the ru at the end, the u, to make it more English. Hunkid, like kel, but instead of cal. I'm sure there's some sort of Kryptonian named Kel something, Kelzor, or I don't know. I don't know comic books, guys. I'll be honest. But think of it that way. All right, fair enough. All right, good.
Says he'll probably use the same stuff he always uses, and that's a lot of what I notice as well. Like, Weightless weeks used to be like, oh, using all this stuff because we were using like Ghost, Bloomed, or not even Bloomed Ghost, just regular Ghost and stuff at the time for filling in weights. But ever since we started getting A's with A rank abilities, the difference between weightless and weighted weeks has definitely shrunk down. It just gives you a little bit more flexibility with those.
I wonder if I missed my window of opportunity to do my S rank tier list, including A rank units in it. Because a lot of the S rank units that weren't bloomed finally are getting blooms. So it's almost like, I would probably even put a bloomed, at least on arena defense, right? Maybe not on offense, but I would put a bloomed, maybe even on offense. I don't know. What's his face? Nightclubber. Nightclubber's hitting 540 potency. He's hitting 540 potency on an attack if he lands every hit. But like, he's hitting 540 potency, typeless, with crit chance on all of those. That's cancerous. That's terrible. That's horrible.
Yeah, with they said he's getting 10% crit chance from his bloom, so he's gonna have the highest crit chance in the game.
Oh my god.
And yeah,
they just have him like shooting 4 shots at the same in one go. That's crazy. That's too much. AoE too. It's nasty. That's just terrible. Like, the only way you take him out is Corvus, right? Because he's still, even with the 2 HP nodes that he's getting 100 HP, right? Plus whatever little nodes he gets. S ranks, what is it? Like, it's 30 per each, right? The little nodes. Let me check. I could check. But like, haven't you noticed
20.
like it's 20? Yeah, so
25 those
25.
HP nodes.
Yeah, so those are 25, and I'm guessing for A ranks it's 20 or 15, and then for Bs it's lower, and for whatever it's lower. It seems that way. Yeah, but within S ranks they're all the same. So if I check one, I'll know all of them. But yeah, that's not a lot of HP. It is something, right? He's still, he barely had HP before. Now he has a sizable bit of HP. And he has a monstrous defense. So every point of HP he gets is fortified by that defense. So he's a monster. Don't get me wrong. Corvus would still kill him, right? With the double swoosh. Corvus would kill him. Right? Assumably. 4 movement. Double swoosh. Am I getting that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 movement, double swoosh.
Yeah, I think I'm not gonna say it here. I'm not gonna say it here. I'm not gonna go into that anymore. I just realized something. Anyway, I think you might have figured out what was on my mind. Celery. Anyway, yeah, that's gonna be fun. Queen Slime's gonna be fun. What's his face? Even because we didn't get to see the bloom from the other unit, the walrus, the yellow walrus dude. But we did see what the bloom is going to look like for Purplatypunk, or whatever his name is. Platypunk?
Platypunk.
Yeah, and that one looks like it's good for PvE if you like RNG. Because it was like very rare, and it does some stuff. You saw that? Yeah, but having wisdom up on a unit is pretty good. Huh?
It did a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah, a lot of stuff.
I didn't see, because it was a weird translation, but there was like 5 or 6 effects.
Yeah, and it could raise like basically every stat, but I guess all of those are rolled individually, and it was either rare or very rare or something, I can't remember. But so 10% or 20%. And then there's another ability that he had that was also 10% or 20%, I can't remember. So one of those was the 10% and one was the 20. I can't remember which was which. I'll have to double check. But that's great for PvE. You'll never see that in Arena, right? You'll never. He's the exact opposite of everything we want on Arena Watch pod. On the pack here. But it seems like a good thing. And we'll have to wait to see about the walrus dude, whatever his name is.
Yep.
But that might be good for Arena, or at the worst, it might be just like Living Statues Bloom was, which isn't bad, but he still lacks a little bit of range, right? So, yeah, I think the only thing Nightclubber was missing was movement. He's still 2 move, right? Instead of 3.
Yeah, I didn't see movement on his thing, so...
Yeah, so definitely more for the Arena defense versus offense. And I would still give him agility, even if he was going to move first, just so on turn 2 and 3 he doesn't miss. I would still give him agility.
Yep.
I'd probably give him agility, put him all the way in the back, and give him buff. So turn 1, he's going to buff somebody or himself. Buff, the way I understand the AI mechanic, it looks for the unit with the least defense, and it buffs it, which is kind of annoying, because it's like, I'd rather have you buff the one with a lot of defense so it does the thing it does better. Or I'd rather have you attack up the unit that has high attack, because I want it to do the thing that it does better. But it does the opposite from what I know. So it goes for what is within range and needs it the most, right? So be mindful of that. But yeah, I could see him being useful, but the 2 move is still going to bother me. The 2 move is going to bother me, and I know this is just another unit that's not super amazing on offense, right? It's possible. But that, by contrast, by a large margin, like even if you thought this unit is good on offense, by a large margin, you have to admit that it's going to suck a lot more on defense, for even not even considering guild v guild. Just in a regular arena match, if you don't have a way of taking this guy out first, that's a pain. So it's just another one of those things that I'm gonna have to worry about when it finally comes out. Do you have him awakened at all?
Uh,
I know Trop doesn't have any of the quote-unquote terrible blooms. Apparently his Queen Slime is max awakened too, so he's set. Trop literally has all the good Blossom units.
Yeah, I did check. I think I probably have 2 awake. I just got another Archdemon off of the Guaranteed S from the beginner tickets.
Mm-hmm.
So that's now 2. And then my King She Slime went to 4 awaken off of those beginner tickets from 1 awake before last week. So that was really nice. I think I got another hybrid to bring that to 4 awaken.
Yeah, my hybrid's at 6, I think, awaken. Yeah, he's at 6. So he has 60 points right now. I'd probably give him 1 extra agility, even though HP is a more valuable stat, just so he could outspeed other hybrids.
Other hybrids.
In the rare case, because it's like I don't know when I'm going to survive with just 1 more HP, or when I would have lost by 1 HP. But I figure a speed tie with another hybrid, it might be more. I don't know. There's really he doesn't scale well off of anything much. I mean, he does scale off of HP. He does. But the thing is, the blossoms that they messed up here is for every point of like HP, any other stat with that same number of points is more valuable. Like, one attack is way more important than 1 HP, in my opinion, right? Like, that's why swords give you, like, they have 79 HP rolls, is because you need more of it to be equivalent to the damage, because, you know, you have a 300%, 350, 500% potency ability. That one attack point is going a long way, right? Versus these HP stats is they have to be like at least 3 or 5 times higher. So the way that they screwed up on Awakening Plus is, let's say you put 5 points into HP. 5 points into HP should have gave anywhere, and let the balancing people decide what it would have been. But it should have been anywhere from 3 to 5 times the actual amount of stats that the other ones would have gotten. Same thing with MP. MP should have also been a slightly boosted compared to, say, attack, agility, or wisdom, or defense. So I think they messed that up. It makes it more obvious to make HP one of the less priority points to put into a unit. See, if it was 3 HP points, I might have gave it that point over the agility. Or if it was 5 HP points, I would have gave it that 1 point over the agility. But I don't know. I haven't put the point in yet, so we'll see what I do with it. But it's like consequential to anything. It doesn't matter. Yeah, but where's my Night Clubber? My Night Clubber's 3 awakened.
Yep,
so he's not doing bad.
4.
Yours is 4, yeah.
Actually, yeah, one of my higher.
That's good, because yours is going to have, you know, a lot of agility. It's going to have the double resistance. I think that's the second and fourth awakening, considering that I believe that this is more of a defense unit. I think the second and fourth awakening are going to be the most important on this unit, in my opinion. And the agility, so any point of agility, Beastmaster Claw, whatever you want to do on this guy would help him out greatly, I want to say.
Yep.
Maybe I give him Kabuff. That would be funny. Okay. Well, we talked about some new units. We talked about old units. We got... What's the permutation this week? All F units, right? 5 F-man team?
Just Dracky, Slime.
Exactly, yeah. That's all you need to bring this week, guys. It works out pretty well and in your favor. It's like you have a diet because your weight's pretty low. So it's weightless. So they can't tell you how much you can't bring. You could do whatever you want. So do what you want. Yeah, it's just like any other weightless week. Which does allow you to use heavier units like your 65 weight rather than just bringing like 1 or 2 or none. Now you might bring 3, 4, 5 even question mark units that are 65 weight. Of course, you know, some of the other 50 weight units outpunch a lot of the 65s, but it's just the fact that it's an option, right? So Nocturnus is obviously going to be very prevalent, as he always is, but we have ways of dealing with him. But he's going to be there, so look out for that. And we have new units, and I don't know what the exact consequences of those are from this weightless week since the last. Any more input on that, Celery? What do you think?
I mean, Hadler is one of those with
oh, we got Purplatypus.
like...
How's the gold this week? Yeah, I've finally caught up on gold. I had like 140,000 not just earlier. I spent quite a bit of it, but so I'm at 120,000 now, but yeah, we have a lot of gold plat. There's a gold quest for the weekend, so you could use your stamina and spend it on the gold quest or mission to get gold instead of farming tomes or units and events. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, so Hadler has those carver resistances, Sizz and Crack. So that's a pretty powerful or pretty useful combination for Arena. There's a lot of strong Sizz and Crack damage. A lot of things are weak to Sizz and Crack, so people like to bring Sizz and Crack. And then with his first awakening, he gets the ability to heal half his health twice when he drops under 50%. So that is effectively double what the standard self-heal spellcasters have been. And it does apparently scale because it's set at half of his health, not set at a number. So that's something. If you're going up against him, you really want to have a good plan of how to deal with that. Die.
Heroes are heavy too. Yeah, so die is a good point.
Yeah, die. I think is one of those units where he's not going to be that bad at 0-1 awaken, but the higher he goes, the more difficult he gets to deal with because he procs his own damage reduction when he's under 50% health. So if you don't one-shot him, then it's difficult to two-shot him, and it's probably more like going to be three-shot. Unless you get very close to one-shotting him. But so that's something I think could trip some people up if you're forced up against, or even if not forced, but if you go up against a weaker die earlier in the week, and then there's a stronger one later on. Definitely read up on his perks because he operates. You definitely get some interesting changes as he gets more awakenings.
Are there any A units or anything less than an S that you're like, okay, situationally you might want to bring this on your team, even though I know it's a weightless week, you might still want to bring this? Like for me, if you could keep him safe, like with Dolmagus or whatever being at the target, like, and you are up against a team with stun weak units, I might just bring what's his face, Vendor Ghost, because if your team, I mean my team has ways of dealing with Nocturnus, so I probably wouldn't, right? Like KSS, a lot of other people will just kill him usually. But if I did have to go the disable route, I would sacrifice just one slot, that would have been an S unit, and bring Vendor Ghost. Just an option to consider.
Yeah. I mean, like that's the big thing with weightless weeks has always been the amount of damage being thrown around. So I think it's definitely difficult to swap down an S unit for an A rank for utility purposes. I think it would be more likely to swap down to like Claria if you were up against a team with a lot of crack weakness. Because sometimes, just like Starscream proved on one of the early weightless weeks, just having a high range, high damage unit can be more useful than a lower range, high damage unit.
Unless if you're Metazoa, then you're like, he does whatever he wants.
And then you just let everyone come to you. You've set up your evil
but
air.
My great dragon is max awakened and awakened plus. He's at I think I dropped a stat into his agility probably. I think. So yeah, he's awakening plus and he's at 60 points. Yeah, awakening plus. So I'd probably use that over Claria. I know she has range, but I'd probably still use that. But
Yep.
there are times, yeah, Claria does have range, and Dolmagus might get targeted instead of her. Of course, HP is boosted this week, so maybe Claria would get targeted over Dole because she has lower defense. And if they could one-shot her, then they would want to one-shot her. And even if I gave her HP and neither of them could be one-shot, she would still be targeted because she has less HP. I mean defense. So, I don't know. It's a tough call whether I'd want to bring Claria or not, because I could give her HP and it still might not make a difference for her. And of course, then she loses a lot of damage in that case. We have 3 turns, so having the range and the Claria argument, which I guess for Starscream back in the day, it was literally Claude, right? He had a lot of range with Claude. That's why he was bringing him over S units on a Weightless week, was just because of that. The argument is almost less valid now. It's still prevalent, right? It's still just 3 turns. But that's 50% more turns than we had prior. Yep. So it's almost not that important. So you could get away with either, honestly. As long as you could keep Claria safe, which I don't know if I could. But it's an option. Maybe if you're on the main Discord, maybe Starscream could defend that position a little more than I tried to present it here. But yeah, I think that covers most things. We've only been going for... How long has this been? An hour, actually. That's perfect timing. Any predictions? Are we going to see more than 50 in first place?
I don't think so. I think Weightless... Yeah, I think Weightless... We'll see if... Is this our first 3 turns since... Our first Weightless since 3 turn? I think it is, right? Or was the very first week?
The very first one might have been. I think that was, 44, 45 was the 3-turn rule change, and it was 45 was the Weightless, I think.
Yeah, I think the very first one was.
Yeah.
So, this is...
But we've got a lot of units since then. Like, a lot of units since then. We've gotten... Duel. We've gotten... what's his face? Rapthorn. We've gotten Hadler. We've got all the die units, all the... Whatever. We've gotten a lot of units since then, so it's a different ball game, maybe. But again, I don't know the consequence of all those things. I think we did cover everything, though, did we? As far as new units, and because that's all there is to cover. Like, every Weightless week is exactly the same. All that matters is the map and what new units have been released, I guess, since the last Weightless week. I think we covered those, right? Like, I mean, players might still bring a lot of free-to-play units, like maybe Nimzo, maybe Carver, Yangus, stuff like that, because why not? Those are heavy units. Some of those are pretty heavy units, but there's no consequence to bringing heavier units this week, so...
Celery. Big Draki Squad is going to vaporize Arena Watch. That's all I have to say.
Is that how it goes, huh?
Just because you say it in voice doesn't make it any less fan.
Oh, we are amped up. We're going to field 5 times Nocturnus somehow. We're going to cheat the code.
5 Nocturnus.
Oh, we got it live on air. We got him admitting to cheating live on air, Celery. I think
right. We're going to hack it. Marcosis, he's got the ends with a code. We're going to implant that shit.
I think his name is just Marcos LS, but, it's okay.
I always read the L's and I. Whatever. He's good looking, so it's fine. He can get away with it.
Oh, okay, yeah. Most people playing DQTR. So there's that.
I know. I saw your picture with the long hair. Holy cow.
Mm-hmm. I wasn't a cow. I was just a dude with long hair.
Handsome dude.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, but I think that covers most of it. Unless Czar Peter, I mean, you're here. Is there anything? I mean, you're more of a whale than I am. I mean, I spend $4.50 a month, and sometimes not even that. If we're talking just Google Play points that I've racked up over time.
I think that Weightless week usually ends up being Marshall week. I mean, it's like Marquis, Vera, KSS, Dual Magus, and then one splash unit.
I don't know. Maybe. Those are heavier units. I mean, not the heaviest. Like 50 weights, a lot of those were. But it for me, it tends to be, again, stuff like that could be. And a lot of the heavier units that you wouldn't typically see, you would see. It's supposed to be, and not that it necessarily is, but it's supposed to be whale week, right?
Yeah,
theoretically.
But it makes sense to synergize with the leader perk. So it's like all martial or all heroes, and like how many concise teams can someone make with their box? Like martial is, a lot of people have those. Like you could run knocked, but
yeah, a lot of people had full breath boxes. A lot of people used to, and now that's less viable. A lot of people have full martial boxes. A lot of people have full spell, physical, whatever.
Right.
You could run your bonus. Even Seraphy for a weightless week is somewhat viable, because if she boosts 4 different heavyweight units for their attack on turn 1 with Gritty Ditty, that's pretty strong. Or if you are even smarter and you brought a blossomed Juliante, then you could boost everybody's attack on turn 1 as well, and still be able to attack on turn 2 and 3. So that's probably very relevant.
If there's a bang week target, though, Juliante is just going to attack. I mean, she can do like 1,500 damage.
Not mine. Mine is not awakened yet, and she's at S4.
Oh, I gotcha.
She's at S4, unfortunately. So that whole physical team strategy is on hold for now, for me. But
there you go, Marshall week.
Yeah. So some people could do the physical. I'm just saying that the whole physical team thing is an option. It's not entirely more viable, but there's a way to do it. You give your units a lot of agility, and then you have Juliante use attack up on turn 1. And then units like OKM
agility.
Get 3 stacks of attack up and have an insane amount of attack power.
Yeah, but the Marshals already have agility even without equipment. They have a ton of splash damage, KSS, MD, Dual Magus. Do
you see this as a splash damage map? Do you see this as like an AoE map when you're looking at it? Like, will units be bunched together, or what are you thinking when you see this?
From my experience in previous weeks, they start out scattered early on because they have to deal with bot teams, but eventually they fight centralized teams, so they bunch up, and during the second half of the week, the teams start looking really.
Because when I see this, look at the current map that I've thrown up.
Right.
Both their team and the enemy team are perfectly situated for like a KSS to hop right into that middle spot, and I know you generally want the KSS off to the sides. But, huh?
Well, this is the reason why I'll probably use KSS, because I think a lot of teams will eventually turn into this
and
for a while.
But to keep going further, a lot of the starting tiles form not like a perfect plus sign, but it almost forms, plus like four units at least within a single thing here, and then 4 units within a single thing there, 4 units within a single thing there. That's a good thing for like missile or like other plus sign abilities like Nocturnus or Hadler, or some of the other units.
People aren't as creative as you and Celery.
But when you're looking at this layout, you see a lot of almost an incomplete plus sign everywhere. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that just shows that maybe that this is an AoE map. Could be.
I'm just saying a lot of people aren't as smart as you and Celery, and I think they tend to group up in the center, so they have more movement options. So we end up seeing a lot of teams aligned like.
But you have to prepare for worst case. That's usually the way it goes.
Yeah, but if somebody's really scattered, then you just bunch off to one side and take care of half their team.
Yeah, I mean, if you
Because they
bunch
would
off
have
to one
other-
side, I'm going to hide behind the pillar with KSS, and I have a
Right,
perfect
yeah,
scoop for hitting you guys, pretty much. So,
Yeah.
it's good for me either way. Honestly, this map is really good for KSS now that I'm looking at it. Even though the middle is completely open, it's still really good for KSS because you could hop down that middle, you could hop down the sides if they're bunched to a side. It just,
Yeah, I mean, like,
it's really good
either
for
they're in
him.
the middle and KSS and everyone dies before they can fight back, or they're off to a side or scattered and KSS hides behind a block. Either way is good.
And I feel like with this map, there's almost no way that they could set up their units. I mean, there are a few ways. There's almost no way that you could set up your units that I can't hit 2 units with Evil Glint.
Right.
So that's pretty cool, too. I mean, I could think
And
of a
with-
pattern or two.
With
but that would be very
Dual
rare.
Magus's movement, actually, he could hit those 3 units in the back on the current map on your screen because he has the 4 movement, and he wouldn't even block KSS, which is crazy.
Yeah, so this is still a very good map for him as well.
Yeah, and then he'd be in the perfect spot to suck up attacks too, right in the center there up front.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean his 4 movement is really lovely.
Yeah. All right, well, I think that covers everything, right, guys? Any other things to note? Comments?
I'm just sad that you're at home and not at the beach anymore.
Who?
I'm sad that you are at home and not at the beach.
We can't be at the beach every stream. Plus, this one I need the visuals, and that's on my laptop, and I was streaming on my phone, so that's not
Scary part is your laptop
possible with the arena.
beach.
Yeah. Of course, I'll bring the laptop to the beach and.
All right, nice stream, guys. Thank you.
Yep. Nice seeing you, man.
You
All
too.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for tuning in to the Arena Watch podcast. I'm Pac, and this is Celery. He didn't say anything. I guess he's muted.
Yeah, I didn't realize I was going to jump in.
Yeah. But anyways, thank you for tuning in. And if you want to join the pack with Pac, go ahead and subscribe down below. If you like this video, then like this video. If you have something to say, write it down in the comments down below. If you want to support the Arena Chronicles and the Arena Watch podcast, go ahead and share. If you want to see more Arena Watch podcasts, go ahead and hit that bell icon for notifications, guys. This ain't Twitch. Join Kage's gaming Discord server for all the best underground DQT conversations. And join my server for all the best DQT guides. Anyways, guys, this has been the Pac signing out. Peace.
Peace.